Welcome to this special episode of Talk Commerce
Tech Edition.
Welcome to Talk Commerce, the tech special Talk Commerce. With me is Lars Rottig. Did I get the name right?
Yes.
All right, Lars, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Lars, and I'm working for Tech Division, a service provider or Adobe partner in south of Germany. I'm doing mostly the senior development stuff, like about PWA and designing architecture. And yeah, I'm part of the team. Yeah, this is all.
Great. Yeah, good to meet you. And so today we're going to talk specifically around PWA Studio and PWA as it pertains to Adobe Commerce and Magento open source. So I know Lars is super active in the PWA community. He was mentioned specifically by Eric Irway, who kind of leads some of the PWA projects at Adobe. And so I'm very interested in hearing some of his thoughts around it and how it's fitting into the new Adobe Commerce world. So Lars, why don't you start off with a little bit of your experience around PWA Studio and maybe some of the project work you've done in that?
Yeah, sure. I work in a core project since 2018 or something like that, or 19. It depends how you compare it, or when I get really active in a project. Main reason here was to join. We start then a project for a customer. The use case here was a B2B catalog for a salesperson. It was like the salesperson want to go to the customer with the online catalog or with the tablet. And if you know Germany, there is many spots where we don't have internet connection. Also, it's like you don't want to ask the customer about a WLAN password if you want to sell something. So our idea was to have an offline catalog, a full offline catalog with real prices for the specific customer, and allow a salesperson to travel around Germany and pitch the products here. But then, we start the project in concept phase, and it was like then something like Corona came up, and it was like, okay, we moved this thing offline catalog to later, and now they building different solutions for virtual products, etc. This is why our first project get stopped, and now it's not so easy to sell PWA for us currently. It's main problem or main point here is budget, or also not any customer needs currently a PWA. So this leads me to maybe we should speak about a little bit which customers need a PWA.
Dive into that a little bit. That's a really good point to bring up, that not every customer needs PWA, and certainly with the new Haifa theme coming out and them really working hard on pitching that to the community. One of their points is not every customer does need PWA. So what do you see as one of the ideal customers for that technology?
For me, PWA makes sense if you want to have an offline catalog, or if you want to have a direct interaction with the customer, also have a target group what is really active on a mobile phone, or on the tablet. So main goal from a PWA is the customer experience. So you want to interact, send push notification, hey, your packages get shipped, or want to get access to the browser API, what is your current location, what is maybe the next pickup store, etc., or what is the next pickup location. Through you can build it with a traditional Magento as well, but from my point of view, if you have a complex front-end API or a front-end what really needs to interact, React is a really good approach to tackle here huge complex front ends.
So let me ask you this question: if you have a developer who is a React developer, and then you have a typical Magento developer, is it more difficult for the React developer to build that store out on PWA Studio, or is it similar if you have a similar skill set in that area?
The main point here is if you have a React developer, but the direct developer doesn't know about Magento or how e-commerce system works. This means like how a refund or how a checkout works. It can be a little bit hard, but from my point of view, a React developer is maybe the better choice to start a PWA project, because it's still React and you only need to teach them how e-commerce works. Okay, it's maybe not the right phrase here. It's like e-commerce, it's huge if you speak about returns, shipping, pricing, etc. But for a React developer, it's maybe easier to start in PWA Studio.
Okay, so the technology difference it's really just a skill set difference between the two developers. Once you have a React developer that knows about e-commerce and they understand, say, the Magento APIs and how to connect with it, the cost to the merchant should be similar as building out a front end on Magento traditionally, or would it still be a little bit more expensive to build out on PWA? Let's take away cost. Let's just put in time as the variable. How many hours compared to the traditional version? Not looking at cost, because I know the cost is gonna vary depending on where you're at and how much you bill at. But let's just say how many hours it takes to build out the solution on PWA Studio compared to the traditional front end on Magento.
As always, I would say here it depends. It depends what the customer requirements is. If I see our sales requests and you see what are the requirements, and they are so different from customer to customer. So if we speak about like a B2C front end with config and simple products, then yeah, you need to build some SEO features on top of PWA Studio, but most things work out of the box. But if we speak about like B2B or like request a quote or negotiate a quote features, then I would say a traditional front end is maybe better for right now because you have the B2B features already visible in the front end and doesn't need to build the huge front end by yourself. But yeah, it's like PWA Studio growing fast because it's a huge team behind PWA Studio. And also PWA Studio is the future of Magento. It was already mentioned in the talk from Eric. if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think he did clarify that Luma isn't going to sunset, but what is going to get sunset is all the technology behind it, like Knockout JS and maybe jQuery. A lot of those things are going to go away, which is going to, by default, remove Luma as the default theme in Magento. Um, the so that brings up a really good point about B2B. And Eric, or Adobe did announce that they are going to release a version of Venia that includes the B2B features, maybe this fall. Um, so, what is I think one thing as an agency, it's always been difficult to understand how much of the PWA Studio is just ready to go out of the box, and so you could launch. So compared to how much still needs to be developed once you get it.
I think if we speak about GraphQL coverage, we have already 90 or over 90% covered by GraphQL. So this means you maybe need to build a React component or a React hook here for some features. But from my point of view, if we speak about config products and simple products, there's things like server-side rendering. Also, payment providers are currently a gap. I'm working on this topic already 2 months in my free time. So to get a better payment support here. Or payment type support here. Also, the core team starts now sessions on payments, how we can get better integrations here. But yeah, from my point of view, if you have a small project, PWA Studio is the best fit.
How about handoff between a traditional front end and PWA front end? Can you mix those two together where you would have, let's just say you have a B2B store, the client wants to do PWA Studio for B2C. They're okay with going a traditional route on B2B. Is it possible or easy to do a handoff between those two stores?
The problem here is if we speak about if you want to develop a feature like customer points or something like that, you need to develop this feature in PHP or traditional HTML and CSS or less, and also need to develop this feature in React. So from my point of view, it doesn't make sense to start a project with 2 front ends in the same time, because this means you need to build or need to change the colors for React and traditional front end as well. So it makes more sense to have one theme and stay with it.
Okay. And did you see that the Brent Mill theme, which I think is their B2B theme that they've used traditionally, they're working on the PWA version of that? And I suppose that's what they're talking about on I think it was Q3 availability for Venia via Brent Mill or whatever. I'm very flattered that they did name that theme after me, but I think their goal is that the Brent Mill theme, which was the theme that came or would be used in demos for B2B, that theme would be available for B2B on PWA.
Yeah, currently I see some demos here, and also there is a commerce integration framework for AEM. What the team starts building on it, and the main idea, if I get it right here, is to align React components that supports shipping for AEM and or supports commerce for traditional AEM, and also allowing to use React components for PWA Studio. So the commerce integration framework is is a component or a library for AEM. And also in this part of it, there should be some development of B2B components as well.
And have you done AEM integration with PWA Studio, or is that still something that's still needs to be done by you or your team?
No, we evaluated and I did a spike on it, but it was not something what we start, because AEM is a great product, but if you know the typical German customer, and I know there is a pricing change now for smaller businesses, but still it's a little bit expensive for the most small customers in the German market. So it depends on how much money you earn with your online shop and if it's really fit your requirements here.
Okay. You have a passion for PWA Studio, and you obviously see a future in it. Why have you chosen to pursue the PWA Studio over something like View Storefront?
The main reason here is the vendor, because I see more and more Adobe go to headless solutions. So this means services get decoupled from different services. So if we speak about something like live search, this is the first SaaS project what Adobe launches for, or launched for Magento. So this allows to replace the search by a service, and this is what happens now. Adobe decouples or remove some services from Magento piece by piece, and then it's yeah, it will be more and more based on React or JavaScript applications.
Okay. And are there any other PWA solutions out there that you've looked at besides PWA Studio and View Storefront?
Yeah, I also take a look on Scandi PWA, but from my point of view, they have a different approach how they want to build something. Also, what I see or what I had in the past on experience is, if you are not working with a vendor product, so if you buy a license for a theme, or if you buy a license for something, maybe this thing will be maintained for 2 years, and then it will die because maybe it's less customers there, the company choose a different goal and doesn't want to support the theme. So this is maybe happens not so often, but if you build a e-commerce system and having or using a theme or using a technology, from my point of view, it's very important to make sure that this thing is supported still in 5 years or something like that.
Okay, no, that's a great answer. As a Magento developer, as a front-end Magento developer, what recommendation would you give somebody new that would like to learn about PWA Studio and eventually like to become an expert in it?
First of all, it's like you start with React and JavaScript basics. So it depends on your knowledge level, but it makes totally sense to learn ES6 and React, and how GraphQL works and how the Apollo client works. There is a good tutorial from Apollo. They have also resources about React on the Apollo Odessa page. I will send you a link, then we can put it in the show notes. So this is a good thing here. And then we have still a custom stack on top of it. this means special things to PWA. So, and there is some blog posts from me, a YouTube channel, and also the training from Issa is really good. And also I think Issa launched an online course. I didn't watch it, but I imagine it would be great. A great course. It's a on-demand course where you can only buy the videos and then you can go self-based on the course.
Okay, yeah. So Issa is coming back on to the show. He was, I think he was our first guest, anyways. But and we had a very big conversation around how to pronounce his name. And now I've heard his name pronounced another way, so that's good. And so I have something to again bring to him, to his attention, that maybe he's pronouncing his name wrong. But I do agree that Issa has some really good training material, and I know that he did work on the new videos for training with Adobe for PWA. I will also say, as a novice, I like to say that I can do tech work as one could change a tire on a car. That's how technical I am. But last year I was able to get my PWA Studio or the Vinia theme up and running on my local computer. So I got that far, and I would encourage any I would encourage any developer, because I believe that this is going to be the future of Adobe Commerce. I would encourage everybody to download and run PWA Studio against a version of Magento. I think it's a fantastic solution.
Yeah. Also, it's the future of Magento. Also, things like extending how I can extend GraphQL endpoints, because if you watch a talk from Igor Milayo, there is a really good presentation at Adobe Summit, highly recommended here, about the new architecture of Magento. Also, they describing here the middleware approach, what Magento or what Adobe's integrate in commerce. And so it's a really good talk. There is also a new middleware coming soon, will be developed currently or is in develop currently. So there will be a lot of improvements in GraphQL, and also in the latest or upcoming version, there are improvements on GraphQL. So it makes totally sense to play around and also take a look on it.
Yeah, so you'll have to send me the link to that talk as well. We'll put the link for that talk in the show notes, as well as Eric Irway's talk at Magento Connect in the show notes. As a budding developer, I think it's important that you learn this and run this. And as a Magento agency, it's a great exercise to learn something about this new tool and learn where Magento is going, and just keep yourself, again, as a developer, keeping yourself up to speed with what's happening out there is important. So from the Magento community side, where are the best places that they can go to learn and ask questions?
There is a Slack channel from Magento Community Engineering where you can join. I think we have 4,000 or 5,000 developers there. But take me a look. Many. It's a huge channel, and there are separate groups in the channel where you can ask specific questions. Oh, we have almost 10,000 developers, or almost 10,000 people in the Slack channel. So this is a fast growing thing here. And yeah, if you have any specific question about PWA, you can write me a mail, or you can ping me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on any social media platform. And I try to answer, or maybe put something else or delegate to somebody else and say, hey, they can help you with this problem.
That's great. Yeah. So again, we'll put those contact details in the show notes so people can see that. Again, coming back to the community aspect, do you think Meet Magento Germany is going to happen this year, or do you think it'll be virtual again? And are you excited to get back to in-person events at some point?
I think in person this year will be not happen because we have still a small problem in Germany about Corona. So I think in person, definitely not. Virtual, I don't know if is there anything planned or not. I cannot say it because I'm not part of the organizer team. But I can find out for you because it's my company, or it's tech division what organized this event. So it should be possible to find out for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Tech Division is the organizer of Meet Magento Germany, so I was excited, and Stefan is a fantastic speaker. If you have a chance to see his unicorn talk about the chocolates, it's such an engrossing and actually quite funny talk. Great. So we're almost out of time. Is there anything else that you'd like to just kind of say about the PWA Studio and how you're working with it, and any encouraging words to say as we part?
Yeah, maybe to bring up a new topic as well. There's also a new project called Adobe Firefly. So what is the goal of the project Firefly? Firefly is a combination, or tries to combine different Adobe services and allowing you to consume data from many endpoints and delegate them to a new endpoint. So what this means is there's a possibility to get data from Google Analytics and combine them with data from Adobe Analytics and generate a report in Adobe Analytics, something like that, or combine many Google Analytics accounts to one Adobe Analytics account. So I think there will be also new integrations about Firefly in commerce, because from my point of view, I played around at the Summit Hackathon and it works pretty well. So you can deploy a JavaScript, a serverless JavaScript somewhere in runtime, and this thing is get executed. So from my point of view, I will play around with it, and also want to tell you, take a look on a project because it can make sense in your project requirements as well.
Yeah, and if people watched the sneaks at Adobe Summit, Firefly was part of one of the sneaks. I can't remember the particular project, but he did use Firefly to kind of put together part of his sneak, which was very, very entertaining. All right, so as a part, you just mentioned hackathon, and as a teaser, as a future teaser, we have always we also do events, and we've been missing events, and we have an event organizer on staff, and she is eager to try to put together an in-person event. So would you be interested in an event in Orlando, Florida next year if it was specifically around a hackathon for, say, Adobe or Magento / open source hackathon, in person?
Yeah,
In
next year
Orlando,
sounds
Florida
good.
at Disney World. Would that interest you?
Disney World, awesome. I think I will be more the time from the hackathon in the park, but
I have to tell you that that our events person, her name is Madeline, she came up with this concept and this idea, and I thought, why didn't we always think about doing an event in Florida, in Orlando, in the middle of the winter? I live in Minnesota, and it is extremely cold in January. And there's nothing better than going to Florida in January. the other part of that is traditionally Magento. Peter Manichek, who was the former, who used to work for Adobe and Magento and helped put together the testing, would have a little, um, uh, not a summit, but he would have a workshop where a bunch of people would come together and work on specific needs around around Magento education or Magento U. So I think that this could kind of piggyback, and we could invite other people other than just techs. We can invite solution specialists and AEM people, and who knows? Florida's wide open. There's no more coronavirus in Florida. Um, I'll probably edit that out later, but that was a little bit of sarcasm. Anyways, right now, Florida, we could do an event, and I actually went to a conference in Florida 2 weeks ago, and it was very well handled. So I think I know it can be done, and it sounds like a fantastic idea if you're on board with Disney World in January.
Yeah, sounds great.
And I guess the good news for you is that Stefan is going to be on the show soon, and I will pitch him on the same concept and tell him that his top PWA person needs to go.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, thanks, Lars. This has been great. I know we didn't dive into super tech, but I'm hoping that some technical people get something out of this and merchants get something out of this. And let's keep pursuing PWA Studio.
Thank you.